First of all, congratulations on double platinum for The Sickness. It's a
Thank you.
huge deal. It's a great record, so you
Thanks.
should be very proud of yourselves. Did you expect that this record would be as successful and have the staying power that it's had?
Expectations, hopes. Yeah, we had confidence in the music. We believed in it. We had a few defining moments right after we had recorded the record, just sitting back, finally listening to the material, and just all of a sudden, thinking like, wow, this could really turn into something.
It's been a nice growth. I mean, we didn't come out right away real big or anything. It's just nice, steady growth, and it's holding consistently, and just been touring like crazy.
You think that's kind of helped, the fact that it was a steady growth, has it helped for you guys to be able to adapt to the success? I mean, right about now, you guys are filling big halls, and I'm sure there's a bit of an adjustment period to that kind of success.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I think that we're happy about the way that things have progressed because it's a real growth. It's not based on one sporadic hit that all of a sudden, creates such an impact and, burns real brightly but very quickly and then goes away.
Right.
We've been fortunate enough to have, 3 top 10 singles off of this record thus far, and it has been spaced out nicely. In terms of playing shows in larger halls, it did take getting used to, and I will agree with you that it definitely did help us along the way, playing with other bands like Godsmack and the Stone Temple Pilots and Marilyn Manson. It helped us learn how to, or it forced us to learn how to try and engage and keep the attention of a crowd that size.
Do you prefer it now?
I like to mix it up.
Yeah.
A little bit of everything.
A little. You enjoy playing the smaller places.
Depending, I mean, it's always a big rush to have 25,000 people in front of you, like we did during our video shoot for Down with the Sickness in Chicago. But it's also nice, even on a night like tonight. You have a relatively, a smaller theater like the Palladium. And it gets hot and steamy, and that's a beautiful thing. It's something that an arena can't provide for you.
It's always fun playing those clubs, though. We like that indoor vibe to it. And last January, we were back home, and before we went back out on the road again, we booked a show at a smaller club in Chicago that holds like maybe 1,400 people. We knew it was going to sell out quick, but we just wanted that more intimate vibe and just have that back in the club. You
get something out of having the audience like right there in your face. A different experience for you as well.
It's much more intense when you can actually feel the heat of the crowd. You can smell them. They're right there in front of you. You have the energy that they're giving off is very, very direct.
It's nice to have bodies pressed up against the stage, people trying to get on the stage as opposed to having a barricade, separating you from them 10 feet separation.
How do you guys think that this success that you're having is going to affect the creative process when you go back into the studio to put out another record?
Not in the least bit.
Nothing?
Absolutely.
Your life perception, though, hasn't changed, or?
Life perception for what?
I don't know. I guess in general, I would imagine that being a successful musician, there's the potential to view the world differently than if you were a struggling musician living.
The world hasn't changed just because we're now successful musicians. It's just as dark and it's just as ugly in certain ways. It is just as biting and painful, and people need to recognize the reality that lies before their eyes instead of putting on blinders and ignoring everything. That hasn't changed. Success, if anything else, has opened our eyes even more so to other aspects of a world that we knew nothing about, that now is very much a part of our world, that has its dark side and has its negativity. Look, the music business is a business, just like any other. And sometimes the business of music is difficult to handle and difficult to deal with.
Let me back up a little bit. Years ago, that's 4 years now ago, when you guys first met?
Five.
Five, wow.
Five in August.
The band, before you joined, you guys were holding auditions, correct, for a singer? What
Yeah.
was it about David that made him stand out above the rest?
Well, every other singer that we auditioned wanted to come out, play cover songs, break the ice. And David was the only one who had the balls to come up and say, hey, you know, forget that. You guys just jam something. Let me improvise. Let me show you that I could write besides sing.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what we did. It was kind of shocking to think that, you know, most people coming into a room of total strangers don't know nothing. Everybody's a little nervous or whatever. And and he was ready to go. He was ready to move forward with this. He wanted to jump into the originals right away. And we just start improvising some ideas, a riff that I was working on, brought it into the guys. And David just listened for a little bit. About a minute into it, just start belting out just these very melodic, memorable hooks that I just remember going home that night and remembering what he was singing. You know, it stuck in my head. And I'm like, you know, there's something here.
All right. Did you know, David, immediately that you wanted to be a part of this group?
I didn't. I was very intimidated by it. I mean, I was trying to put together a band of my own for a good number of years, and pieces kept falling apart, and it was more like a more punk-lated Chili Peppers type of a vibe. It wasn't as aggressive as this. And I walk into this audition, and I'm in my total stoner clothing, just jean shorts and, you know, this T-shirt and my short cropped hair, and I'm wearing sandals, and, you know, just total bum. And, you know, they're all there, and they're total, like, metal looking. They all had long hair at the time, and, you know, just the tennis shoes and the jeans and all that. And I like looked completely different. We clearly felt a little weirdness because of it. And then they started to play, and I'm like, oh my God, it's good. But it's so aggressive. I don't know if I can complement it. You know, I had never sang as aggressively as I have learned to prior to this project. So I was very unsure at first. I definitely did go home thinking, wow, you know, we had a real song today, and that has potential. But I was like, can I pull that off night after night? I don't know.
Did you hesitate at all when they asked you to join?
Not really,
You were just
because
happy?
I definitely did see the promise in it, but I did go home and I didn't like say an automatic like, you know, all right, you know, let's go. And I went home, and this is an ex-roommate of mine who was very close to me, who unfortunately died some time ago, who you know, said to me, because he came with me to the audition, and he was like, well, from what I heard, and he had really introduced me to this new type of metal that was developing. This is about the same time that Korn's first record really hit, and that Undertow by Tool was becoming popularized. And, you know, I'm starting to learn that there's a tremendous amount of depth and just beautiful pain involved in that music. And I, you know, thought about it, and through his counsel and everything, I'm like, okay, well, let's see if we can make this thing something tangible, something real.
And you have, clearly. That you mentioned, I don't know if you did this intentionally, but you mentioned the phrase new metal. And that seems to be a phrase that, like, you know, journalists in their never-ending quest to label things, that's the label that has been placed upon Disturbed. Is that an accurate description of the music at all to you?
Do not care.
Right.
Have no concept of it, because new metal means so many different things. It's rap metal, it's not rap metal, it's so many different things. Anything that is aggressive beyond being just an alternative rock pop song is labeled new metal. And we're just Disturbed. We write the music that we want to write, and the way that, to where we're satisfied with it, and hopefully that our fans are satisfied with it, and don't worry about labels.
We all have different inspirations, and I don't think, we never even discussed what we wanted to really sound like or follow or anything. It was just more or less everybody bringing in ideas. You know, I would start off, I'd bring in a riff to the guys, and we would just improvise off that. We never really discussed anything of what direction we wanted to go. It took some time to develop that, Tom, and you know, it took the first year was just trying to find ourselves, and I think early on when Dave did come into Audition, we were more metal. You know, we were more of that heavier side. And there was, you know, there was guitar solos, and it was more double bass stuff. And then I think we changed each other somewhat. I think finding a singer who can actually sing and have melody to him kind of made us better songwriters as well. I think we start changing musically. I start taking out the guitar solos and making it more riff orientated and more grooves. And you know, and David started developing his style vocally. I think it complements each other.
Is there a message to the music of Disturbed beyond the obviously you described that the sound has become something that's organic, that you've grown into. But what is the message behind the music of Disturbed?
Well, the songs on the record are reflections of behavior patterns that people exhibit on a day-to-day basis that we view to be negative or counterproductive or dangerous. You know, types of feelings and emotions and experiences that can touch everyone on a certain level. But the unifying theme of the record really is that, and really of the band, is just a very strong struggle for individuality. Society, unfortunately, does not embrace individuals. They want everyone to be the same and predictable and controllable and calculated so that they don't have any surprises, and so their children aren't affected by it adversely and don't all of a sudden go pierce their skin or tattoo their flesh or listen to heavy rock music. All these things play a factor in it, and I think that the stifling of creativity and individuality that is inherent in society is our greatest fault. And that's what we're trying to, fight against.
You mentioned a universal theme, and so this was a calculated effort when you were putting the record
Very
together
much
and when
so.
you were writing the songs. This was what this album was going to be about.
Correct.
Are there other, do you know, what the next record will be about? Is there other things that you want to address that you feel as strongly about?
There are lots of other things. It'll continue to talk about and deal with issues of everyday life, life experience, the world around you. I don't know just yet what the unifying central theme will be. The first song that I've written lyrically is a song called Prayer, which is a conversation between myself and God, which I've always found it ridiculous how organized religion in general and religion per se goes from the basis that God punishes and causes death and destruction and inflicts people with pain and suffering as a means to try and bring them closer to Him, to force them to pray, to force them to pay tribute. And I just think that that's a ridiculous notion. Why would a God want to inflict pain on people to get a response? We're not Pavlov's dog. It doesn't work that way.
It's interesting that's something that you want to address at this point. You've spoken about this a lot, and it's been written about your family being from a very conservative religious background. What has their reaction been to your evolution as a musician?
Very, very apprehensive at first. And as things have progressed and developed, they've become more accepting of it. As things have gotten more successful, they've seen it as something viable now.
It's not just a hobby.
They're not concerned with your worldview or the message.
They've known my worldview for years.
Okay.
Nothing has changed. The music has just given me the opportunity to express it on a widespread basis.
I've read that you guys have constructed quite a, filmic opening to the to your current tour, to your current concert. What is? I don't know if I don't want to give anything away for people that haven't seen it, but is there something? Huh?
Neither do I.
Exactly. But is there something specific that you're trying to address with that?
All of the prior introductions to the set that we have staged previously all, again, revolved around the central theme. Yeah, the way that society treats the individual, the one that stands out, those that are different from the norm. Very early on, I would come out in a straitjacket, symbolizing that society restrains those that are different. Come out in a cage, symbolizing imprisonment. Was executed in an electric chair, symbolizing elimination and eradication. But this newest installment is a lot more severe. It looks at episodes of persecution and genocide, Holocaust, throughout human history, and hopefully gives people a reason to open up their eyes and wake up and realize that these behavior patterns come back around. They're cyclical. You need to be very careful about them.
Well, I'm sure you certainly have a captive, and a captive audience once the images start flashing in front of them.
It's very shocking to them.
Do you know, when you walk out, do you see?
I've never heard an audience prior to us or any other band going on stage so quiet.
Yeah.
You know, normally when the lights go out, there's roaring and they're crazy, and they continue, to make noise until you actually bust into the first song.
Right. Starts with the roar and then gets real quiet as soon as the visual is on.
People are just, occasionally I've looked into the audience when I've been able to try and see when they're watching it, and they literally just stand there, looking up at it, their eyes wide and mouths agape, just.
That must make you feel like they're getting what you're trying to say with this, right?
Some of them yes, some of them no. Unfortunately, in light of the recent tragedy that has befallen this country, a lot of people are distorting the message a little bit and just turning it into a reason to chant USA, USA, which is all well and good. I'm all for unity and for bonding together after the time of crisis and the strength that brings the country. But that's not really what we're talking about. So,
do you feel the urge to clarify what the message is when you go out on the stage?
I do every night.
You do?
Mm-hmm.
And is the reaction
it's strong.
Favorable? Yeah?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's good. Is the conceptualizing of these pieces, is this something that the entire band puts into it, or is it something that just, you seem to be the most outspoken about it, but does everybody contribute to the vision of this?
In their own way.
Show?
Yeah, everyone's a part of the creative process. We all get involved in it.
Well, very good. Well, thank you very much for taking a few minutes to talk to us here at House of Blues. I really appreciate it. Good luck with everything, and congratulations again on double platinum and all the success with The Sickness.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks a lot.